I'm Dr. Kay Fontana, spiritual grief and sound healing practitioner and founder of Healing Our Grieving Hearts. For 6 sacred years, I walked beside my husband as his caregiver after his cancer diagnosis until his passing in January 2023. His death, following 40 years of love, was the most profound loss of my life. I faced many kinds of losses, from family members to beloved pets, and through it all, I've come to understand grief not only as sorrow, but as a sacred passage. My mission now is to help you move through the darkness with grace, to honor your own process, and to remind you that healing is possible, even if your heart is broken wide open. You are not alone. This is the Healing Our Grieving Hearts podcast. Today we're going to talk about something that many of us know all too well, that feeling of numbness that can come after a deep loss. The times when life feels like it's happening around us, but we're not quite part of it. When our emotions feel muted, our senses dulled, and our days blur one into the next. It can feel scary, confusing, and even hopeless when numbness lingers. But today I want to gently remind you that numbness is not permanent. It is part of the body's and soul's way of protecting us. And even in the midst of it, there are pathways that lead us back into the presence, back into our bodies, and slowly back into life. So today's episode is called From Numbness to Aliveness, Reconnecting with Your Senses. Together we'll explore why numbness happens, why awakening our senses matters, and gentle ways to begin reconnecting with the simple, life-giving experiences that remind us we are still here, still breathing, still alive, still capable of feeling beauty even in grief. So let us begin with an affirmation. Even when I feel disconnected, my senses can gently guide me back to life. For some people, that shock is immediate. For others, it comes later after the initial flurry of activity, phone calls, memorials, and family gatherings. And for many, numbness comes and goes. It can show up weeks or even months later. Numbness can feel like going through the motions without really being there, watching your life like a movie instead of participating in it, being unable to cry even when you desperately want to, or just feeling flat, detached, unable to fully engage in the things you once loved. It's important to say this out loud. Numbness is normal. It is not a sign that you're not grieving correctly or that something is wrong with you. Numbness is your nervous system's way of protecting you. When grief feels too overwhelming to process all at once, your body creates a buffer. It says, let's turn down the volume for now so we can survive this moment. And that's okay. It's okay to be numb. It's okay not to feel much of anything sometimes. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to. Numbness is not the end of the story. It is a pause, a resting place, and eventually, as your spirit feels ready, the senses begin to awaken again. So why do we talk about the senses in grief? Why does it matter whether we notice the taste of our tea or the sound of a bird outside? Because the senses are how we experience life. Our senses connect us directly to the present moment. They bring us out of the looping thoughts of what if and why and if only, and gently place us here now. Think about the smell of freshly baked bread, or the sound of ocean waves, or the feel of warm sunlight on your skin. Even in sorrow, those moments remind you, I am alive, I am here, I can still feel. When we awaken our senses, we begin to slowly awaken to life again. Not all at once, not in a way that erases grief, but in a way that gently says, you are still part of this world. Beauty is still here. Presence is still possible. And often it is through the senses that our loved ones seem closest. The familiar smell of their cologne, the sound of a song you once shared, the way the air feels on a crisp morning that reminds you of a memory together. The senses help us carry both our grief and our love. So how do we begin? If numbness has wrapped itself around us, how do we start to reawaken? We start small. We start gently, one sense at a time. So for sight, step outside and notice the colors around you, the green of the grass or the blue of the sky, the pinks and oranges of a sunset. Light a candle and just watch the flame flicker for a few moments. Gaze at a flower, a piece of art, or even a photo that brings you comfort. For sound, listen to music that soothes you, the music that makes you cry, whatever feels true for you. Step outside and notice the birds, the wind in the trees, or even the hum of the traffic. Use healing instruments, a singing bowl, chimes, or even a simple bell to bring your awareness into the present. For touch, wrap yourself in a soft blanket and notice its warmth. Hold a stone, a crystal, or even a mug of warm tea. Place your hand over your heart and feel its rhythm. For smell, breathe in the scent of fresh flowers, a favorite candle, or essential oils like lavender or eucalyptus. Notice the smell of rain, pine, or fresh air when you step outside. Inhale slowly and let the scent ground you in this moment. And for taste, take a small piece of fruit or chocolate and let it melt slowly in your mouth. Sip your tea or coffee with full intention, noticing the flavor and warmth. Eat one meal mindfully, focusing only on the taste and the textures. You don't need to do all of these at once. Choose one sense that feels easiest, most comforting, or most accessible to you. Even one small moment of connection is enough. I want to share with you some of the ways that I found myself reconnecting with my senses in my daily life. For me, sight often begins with the sky. I spend a lot of time gazing at the moon and the stars, watching the clouds drift by, and soaking in the colors of sunrise and sunset. Each moment feels like a reminder that beauty still exists, even in the midst of grief. Sound plays a big role as well. When I'm outside with my dog Dojo, I love listening to the birds and the many songs they sing. And because I'm a sound and vibration therapies practitioner, much of my healing also comes from playing my bowls, gongs, chimes, and drums. Their vibrations don't just fill the room, they move through me, reminding me of life's rhythm. Touch shows up in the simplest yet most meaningful ways. I often pet, scratch, and brush Dojo, my dog. He enjoys it, of course, but I do too. That physical connection relaxes both of us and reminds me how comforting touch can be. Smell is another sense that carries me back into presence. The scent of rain or the cool night air always stirs something deep within me. And when I use my essential oils, I feel my soul soften and my spirit settle. And finally, taste. My husband Dave was an amazing cook. Even now, I prepare meals he used to make, especially on special days and anniversaries. The flavors bring comfort and connection, almost like a love note from him carried through the food. Each of these moments, sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste, are reminders that my senses can gently guide me back into life, one breath, one moment at a time. So how do we weave this into our daily lives? How do we make it more than just an occasional moment? First, start with simple rituals. Each morning as you sip your tea or coffee, pause to truly taste it. In the evening, light a candle and sit quietly watching the flame. On a walk, notice the colors, the sounds, the feel of the ground beneath your feet. Before bed, hold a soft blanket or pillow and give yourself permission to be comforted. And here's a journaling prompt for you this week. What did I notice with my senses today that brought me comfort, peace, or a reminder of life's beauty? It might be something tiny, the smell of rain, the taste of soup, the sound of your dog snoring beside you. Write it down. Over time, these little notes will become reminders that aliveness is returning, slowly and gently. The more we allow ourselves to experience these small sensory awakenings, the more we begin to remember that we are alive, that life, even in its tenderest and sorrow, it's still offering us moments of beauty. As we close today, I want to remind you that numbness is not forever. It is a part of grief, and it is also a place we move through. Your senses are pathways back into life, back into connection, and back into the present moment. So let's return to our affirmation together. Even when I feel disconnected, my senses can gently guide me back to life. This week, I invite you to choose just one sense to focus on. Let it guide you, let it comfort you, let it remind you of life's beauty, even in grief. If this episode spoke to you, I invite you to share it with someone who may also need a little comfort, peace, or a reminder of life's beauty. The mission of Healing Our Grieving Hearts is to support women who are navigating life after loss of a spouse or soulmate, and those who are tenderly companioning their husbands through illness. Through spiritual support, sound and vibration therapies, and reflective practices, I help women find meaning, healing, and renewed purpose. For free resources, including tips on coping with grief and rediscovering joy, visit purpose.healingourgrievinghearts.com. And to connect with me on Facebook, you'll find me at facebook.com/k.fontana. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Healing Our Grieving Hearts podcast. Remember, you are not alone in your grief, and your experiences and emotions are valid. Join me next Saturday at 10 a.m. Arizona time as we continue to explore the human experience and the soul's compass, finding direction when the path feels lost. Until next time, may your grief be held in compassion and your heart be held in light.